So next we will see the the uh, trip distribution by the growth factor method. Okay, so this growth factor method usually they will ask in the examination very frequent questions. They will ask about explain about growth factor method for the trip distribution. So you have to explain one by one. First, we'll see the growth factor method. So whatever the growth factor methods are there, so have been used in the for whatever the earlier studies which has been made. So that has been used for the earlier studies, but they have the yielded place, some yielded place. So now that are more that is more are rational synthetic models. Mm. So that's about the growth factor method, first point. Second one, where they are still used in the this whatever the techniques are there, so that can be used for the smaller studies. And this technique, whatever the distribution, sorry, this method, whatever it is there, so that provides to historical background before there is a more recent methods that can be discussed. So next is the whatever the growth factor methods, so that is based on the assumption that the present travel pattern can be projected to the design year in the future by using the certain expansion factor. So some of the that expansion factors are given by the relation here in the growth factor method, can be represented by the general formula Tij is equal to Li small t. This is okay. This is small t ij. Okay, this is small t. Capital Tij is equal to small t ij into e. What is this capital T ij is design year of the trips from the zone I to zone j. So small tij is equal to observed based year number of the trips from the zone I to zone j, where capital E is the growth factor. So the following are the important growth factors methods. So that are the uniform factor method and the average factor method and the factor method and furnace method. So in this whatever am I explaining, this is a growth factor method. In this factor, whatever I'm showing this E, so there are the four types of the growth factor methods. Okay, so one is uniform factor method. Another is the average factor method. Third one is the fractor method. Fourth one is furnace method. So these are the four methods which is been given. So now I will go for the each one. First I will go for the uniform factor method. So what is this uniform factor method? So this is the whatever the uniform factor method which I'm showing. So uniform factor method, this is the very old growth factor method which has been used. Their assumption or some assumption that has been made in the this growth factor. So consider that the growth rate, whatever the growth method, and assumes the growth rate for the whole area is valid only for predicting the future interzonal trips. So where there is a, in case there is a single growth factor, so single growth factor of E, so for that central area, the under the study which is been calculating by dividing the future number of the trips end which is been expected in the survey area for the design. So in the design area by the trip and in the based year. So the future trips between the zone I and zone J, that are Ti and Tj. So what is I? So I refers for origin, J refers for destination. So that is been calculated by applying the uniform factor. Oh, this one. Okay, by applying the, this is the formula. This is the formula where here the future number of the trips which is been end trip and expected in the survey area for the design year by the trip ends in the base year. The whatever the future trips between the zone I and zone J are then calculating by applying the uniform factor E. So whatever it is there at the end right hand side, E, to the base year trips between the zone and I and J. So that is being given by Tij is equal to T of Ij into E. So E is what? E is a growth factor. So that's about the future trips between the zone I and J. This method is a uniform factor method. Next, I will explain about the average factor method. Here I can give in this method there is some advantage as well as disadvantage. The major advantage is this is a very simple method where the future forecasting can be done, a very reliable method and very old method. So that is one of the major advantage. So disadvantage, whatever the assumption of this uniform growth method or growth rate is there, so that entire study is not correct, because each zone will have its own growth rate, and the rate of the growth of the traffic movement between each zones or each area, it will be varies. So between the area or between the any two zones, that will be very different. So apart from that, the method underestimates the movement where there is a present day development and it has been limited, and the overestimates the movement where there is a present day development which is been very extensive. So apart from that, the whatever the present trips will be there, that between the two zones, that is 0. The future trips moment is also become 0 as per this method. So that's why this method cannot be this cannot be used always. It can be used very cases very this may be rarely can be used, cannot be used always. So that is one of the major disadvantage of this method.